They gave my brother the family ring for Christmas and said, "You'll get over it someday." You know that feeling when your entire world shifts in a single moment? When something you thought was solid ground beneath your feet just disappears? That's what happened to me last Christmas morning, and I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. If you've ever felt like the forgotten child in your own family, like you're always watching from the sidelines while everyone else gets the spotlight, then maybe you'll understand what I'm about to tell you. I'm 32 years old, and I've spent most of my life believing that family was everything. That blood was thicker than water, that your parents would always have your back, that being the eldest child meant something. I was wrong about all of it. Dead wrong. And it took one small velvet box on Christmas morning to show me just how naive I'd been. Let me back up a bit. My name is Sarah, and I'm the oldest of 3 kids. There's me, then my brother Jake, who's 28, and my sister Emma, who's 25. Growing up, I was the responsible one. The one who helped Mom with dinner, who made sure everyone's homework was done, who babysat when my parents went out. I was the peacekeeper, the problem solver, the one who always put everyone else first. It wasn't something I chose, really. It just sort of happened. When you're the oldest, especially when you're the oldest daughter, that's just what's expected of you. My brother Jake, well, he was the golden boy. Still is, actually. He's charming, funny, the kind of guy who can walk into a room and have everyone laughing within 5 minutes. He played football in high school, got decent grades without really trying, and always seemed to land on his feet no matter what trouble he got into. And trust me, there was plenty of trouble. But somehow, it was always brushed off as boys being boys, or Jake's just spirited. When I made mistakes, which was rare, they were treated like major character flaws that needed immediate correction. Emma, my little sister, she was the baby, the princess, the one who could do no wrong because she was just so sweet and innocent. Even now, at 25, my parents still talk about her like she's this fragile flower that needs protection from the cruel world. She's actually tougher than any of us, but they've never seen that side of her. The ring I'm about to tell you about isn't just any ring. It's my great-grandmother's engagement ring, passed down through 4 generations of women in our family. My great-grandmother Rose wore it when she married my great-grandfather in 1924. My grandmother Margaret wore it in 1948. My mother wore it in 1985. And I've been waiting my entire life to wear it too. This ring is gorgeous. It's a vintage Art Deco design with a center diamond surrounded by smaller diamonds and sapphires set in white gold. But it's not just beautiful, it's meaningful. It represents our family's history, our traditions, our connection to the women who came before us. When I was little, my mom used to take it out of her jewelry box and tell me stories about each woman who wore it. She'd slip it on my tiny finger and say, "Someday, Sarah, this will be yours. You're the oldest daughter, and that's how it works in our family." I held on to those words for 20 years. When I got engaged to my fiancé David 3 years ago, I fully expected to receive the ring. I'd been dropping hints for months, talking about how much it would mean to me, how I wanted to continue the tradition. But Christmas came and went that year, and no ring. My mom said she wasn't ready to give it up yet, that she'd know when the time was right. I was disappointed, but I understood. These things take time, right? Last year, same story. I brought it up again, more directly this time. David and I were planning our wedding, and I really wanted to wear the ring. I even offered to have it resized since my great-grandmother and grandmother had much smaller hands than I do. But again, Mom said she wasn't ready. She said she'd been thinking about it, but she needed more time to decide. Decide? That word should have been a red flag, but I was too trusting to see it. Fast forward to this past Christmas. David and I had been living together for 2 years. We'd set a wedding date for next October, and I figured this had to be the year. I mean, what was she waiting for? I'm 32, I'm getting married, I'm the oldest daughter. By all rights and family tradition, that ring should have been mine years ago. Christmas morning started out normal enough. We all gathered at my parents' house like we do every year. Mom made her famous cinnamon rolls. Dad had his coffee and complained about the weather, and we all sat around the tree in our pajamas like we were kids again. It felt warm and familiar, the way family traditions should feel. We opened presents in birth order, oldest to youngest, another family tradition. I got some nice gifts, a cookbook I'd mentioned wanting, a cozy sweater, some bath bombs. Nothing spectacular, but thoughtful. Jake got a new watch, some cologne, a gift card to his favorite restaurant. Emma got jewelry, a designer purse, and a weekend getaway voucher. All lovely, all normal. Then Mom disappeared into her bedroom and came back with a small wrapped box. My heart started racing. This was it. Finally, the ring was going to be mine. "This is a very special gift," Mom said, holding the box like it was made of glass. "It's been in our family for generations, and it's time for it to go to the next generation." I actually started to tear up. After all these years of waiting, of hoping, of dropping hints, it was finally happening. I was going to get my great-grandmother's ring. Mom walked over to Jake. Let me repeat that. She walked over to Jake, my brother, and handed him the box. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach, like the air had been sucked out of the room, like I was watching some alternate reality where up was down and black was white. This couldn't be happening. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Jake opened the box, and there it was, the ring. My ring. The ring that was supposed to be mine, by right of birth, by tradition, by everything I'd been told my entire life. "It's beautiful," he said, holding it up to the light. "Sarah's going to love it." For a split second, I thought maybe this was some elaborate setup. Maybe he was proposing on Christmas morning. Maybe this was all orchestrated, and I was about to get the surprise of my life. But then I looked at his face. He was confused. He had no idea what was happening either. "Actually," Mom said, her voice steady and calm like she was discussing the weather, "the ring isn't for Sarah. It's for you, Jake, for when you're ready to propose to Madison." Madison. His girlfriend of 8 months. 8 months. I'd been waiting 20 years, and she was giving my family heirloom to someone who'd been dating my brother for less than a year. The room went completely silent. Even Emma, who usually can't keep her mouth shut, was staring at Mom like she'd grown a second head. Dad was looking at his coffee cup like it held the answers to the universe. And Jake, poor Jake, looked like he wanted to disappear into the couch. "Mom," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, "what do you mean?" She turned to me with this expression I'd never seen before. It was almost dismissive, like I was a child who'd asked why the sky was blue for the 100th time. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," she said, "and I've decided that the ring should go to Jake. He's more likely to use it soon, and Madison is such a sweet girl. She'll appreciate the family history." "But Mom," I said, standing up now, my hands shaking, "you always said it would be mine. You said it went to the oldest daughter. That's the tradition. That's what you told me my whole life." She shrugged. Actually shrugged, like she was brushing off a minor inconvenience. "Traditions change, Sarah, and honestly, I think Jake will take better care of it. You're always so busy with work, and you tend to lose things. Remember when you lost that necklace I gave you for your birthday?" I stared at her. The necklace she was referring to was a cheap chain from a department store that I'd lost 3 years ago. I'd lost it while helping her move furniture, actually, while doing one of the million favors I was always doing for the family. And she was using that as justification for giving away my birthright? "But I'm getting married," I said, my voice getting stronger. "In October. This is my time. This is when I should get the ring." "Oh, Sarah," Mom said, and there was something in her voice that made my skin crawl. Pity, maybe, or condescension. "You'll get over it someday. You're being dramatic. You'll get over it someday." Those words hit me like a physical blow. 32 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who always put family first, and that's what I got. You'll get over it someday. I looked around the room at my family. My dad was still staring at his coffee, refusing to make eye contact. Emma was looking at me with what might have been sympathy, but she wasn't saying anything, and Jake was holding the ring box like it was a live grenade. "Jake," I said, turning to my brother, "surely you understand how messed up this is." He shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know, Sarah. I mean, I wasn't expecting this either. Maybe we should talk about it as a family." "There's nothing to talk about," Mom said firmly. "I've made my decision. The ring goes to Jake." That's when something inside me snapped. Not in a violent way, but in a way that felt like a chain breaking. Like I'd been tied to something my whole life, and suddenly I was free. "Why?" I asked. "I need to know why. What did I do wrong? Why don't I deserve the ring that was promised to me?" Mom looked annoyed now, like I was being unreasonable. You didn't do anything wrong, Sarah. You're not the marrying type. You're career-focused, you're independent, you don't need symbols and traditions like other women do. Not the marrying type. I'm literally engaged. I have a wedding dress hanging in my closet. I've been planning my wedding for over a year, but I'm not the marrying type. And Madison is? I asked. Madison is traditional, Mom said. She values family. She wants children. She's the type of girl who would appreciate something like this. She'll probably want to stay home and raise babies, not chase after some corporate ladder. There it was. The real reason. I was being punished for being ambitious, for having a career I loved, for being independent and strong and everything they'd raised me to be. I was being punished. So because I have a job I love, because I'm financially independent, because I don't need a man to take care of me, I don't deserve my own family's ring? It's not about deserving, Mom said. It's about what's best for the ring. And I think Madison will treasure it more than you would. I stood there for a moment, letting that sink in. My own mother thought that some girl my brother had been dating for 8 months would treasure our family heirloom more than I would. More than the daughter who'd been hearing stories about that ring since she was 5 years old. I need to go, I said. Sarah, don't be dramatic, Mom said. It's Christmas. Don't ruin Christmas over this. Don't ruin Christmas. As if I was the one ruining it. As if I was being unreasonable for being hurt that my birthright had been given to someone else without so much as a conversation. I looked at Jake one more time. He was still holding the ring box, looking miserable. Part of me hoped he'd stand up and say something, that he'd tell Mom this was wrong, that he'd give me the ring. But he didn't. He just sat there, holding what should have been mine. I grabbed my coat and purse and headed for the door. As I was leaving, I heard Mom call after me. Sarah, you're being ridiculous. Come back and open the rest of your presents. I didn't turn around. I got in my car and drove home, leaving my family sitting around the Christmas tree with their awkward silence and their guilty consciences. David was waiting for me when I got home. He'd gone to visit his own family earlier and wasn't expecting me back for hours. One look at my face, and he knew something was wrong. What happened? He asked, wrapping his arms around me as I started to cry. I told him everything. The ring, my mother's reasoning, the way she'd dismissed my feelings like they didn't matter. He held me while I sobbed. And then he got angry. Not at me, but for me. It was the first time all day that someone had validated my feelings instead of telling me I was being dramatic. That's messed up, he said. Really messed up. You have every right to be hurt. Having someone on my side felt like a lifeline. For a moment, I'd started to wonder if I really was being dramatic, if I was overreacting to something that wasn't that big of a deal. But David's reaction confirmed what I already knew in my heart. This wasn't about a ring. This was about respect, about family, about being valued and appreciated. The next few days were rough. I kept expecting someone to call, to apologize, to say there had been a mistake. But my phone stayed silent. Not a single text, not a single voicemail. It was like they'd all collectively decided that I was the problem, that I was the one who'd overreacted, and they were just going to wait for me to come crawling back. 3 days after Christmas, Jake finally called. Sarah, he said, I feel terrible about what happened. Then give me the ring, I said. It wasn't a request. There was a long pause. I can't do that. Mom would kill me. But maybe we can work something out. Maybe you could borrow it for your wedding? Borrow it. He wanted me to borrow my own family's ring for my own wedding. Jake, I said, do you hear yourself right now? You're asking me to borrow something that should have been mine in the first place. I know. But you know how Mom is. She's not going to change her mind. Maybe if you just apologized for storming out. Apologized? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I should apologize? For being hurt that my birthright was given to your girlfriend of 8 months? Sarah, come on. You know Madison's great. She's practically family already. She's been dating you for 8 months, Jake. 8 months. I've been waiting for that ring for 20 years. But you don't even need it, he said. And I could hear the frustration in his voice. You've got your own money. You can buy your own ring. Madison doesn't have those options. There it was again. I was being punished for being successful, for being independent, for not needing a man to take care of me financially. This isn't about money, I said. This is about family. This is about tradition. This is about the fact that I've been told my entire life that ring would be mine someday. Look, Jake said, I'm going to talk to Mom about maybe getting you something else. Maybe she can give you Grandma's pearl necklace or something. I don't want the pearl necklace, I said. I want the ring that was promised to me. Sarah, you're being unreasonable. It's just a ring. Just a ring. My brother, who'd been handed this family heirloom without asking for it, without expecting it, without waiting for it, was telling me it was just a ring. If it's just a ring, then give it to me, I said. You know I can't do that. Then we don't have anything else to talk about. I hung up and didn't answer when he called back. A week later, Emma called. My little sister, who'd been silent during the whole Christmas debacle, finally decided to weigh in. Sarah, I think you're being a little harsh, she said. I mean, I get why you're upset, but Jake didn't ask for this. He's caught in the middle. He's caught in the middle, I said. Emma, he could solve this whole thing by giving me the ring. He's choosing not to. But then he'd have to deal with Mom's anger, and you know how she gets. He's trying to keep the peace. By letting Mom steal something that belongs to me? It doesn't belong to you, Sarah. It belongs to Mom. She can give it to whoever she wants. I felt like I was talking to a stranger. This was my sister, the one I'd protected from bullies in middle school, the one I'd helped with homework and boy problems and college applications. And she was telling me that my feelings didn't matter because keeping the peace was more important. Emma, I said, put yourself in my position. What if Mom had promised you something your whole life and then gave it to someone else without explanation? How would you feel? I'd be disappointed, she said, but I'd get over it. Family is more important than things. This isn't about things, I said. This is about respect. This is about being valued. This is about the fact that no one in this family seems to care about my feelings. That's not true, Emma said. We all care about you, but you're being dramatic. It's just a ring, Sarah. There it was again. Just a ring. The same phrase Jake had used, the same dismissive attitude. I started to wonder if they'd all talked about this, if they'd all agreed that I was being unreasonable and they just needed to wait for me to come to my senses. If it's just a ring, I said, then why is Mom so determined to give it to Madison instead of me? Emma didn't have an answer for that. I didn't hear from my parents for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence, of wondering if they even cared that I was hurt, if they even missed me. Finally, on a Tuesday evening, Dad called. Sarah, he said, your mother wants to know if you're coming to dinner on Sunday. Just like that. No apology, no acknowledgement of what had happened, no attempt to make things right. Just a casual invitation to Sunday dinner, like nothing had happened. Is she going to give me the ring? I asked. Sarah, you know she's not going to change her mind about that. She's made her decision. Then I'm not coming to dinner. Don't be stubborn, Dad said. This is tearing the family apart. I almost laughed. I was tearing the family apart. Not Mom's decision to break a 20-year promise. Not the fact that they'd all chosen to dismiss my feelings rather than address them. Me. I was the problem. Dad, I said, I'm not being stubborn. I'm being hurt. There's a difference. I know you're hurt, he said, and for a moment I thought maybe he was going to acknowledge how messed up this whole situation was. But you need to let it go. Your mother had her reasons. What reasons? I asked. What possible reasons could she have for giving away something that was promised to me? There was a long pause. She thinks Jake is more likely to settle down and have kids. She wants the ring to go to someone who'll pass it on to the next generation. I felt like I'd been slapped. I'm getting married, Dad, in October. I'm 32 years old. If I want kids, I'm going to have them soon. Your mother doesn't think you really want kids, he said quietly. She thinks you're more focused on your career. Has she ever asked me? I said. Has she ever asked me what I want? Or did she just decide based on her own assumptions? Sarah, you know how your mother is. She's set in her ways. So I'm supposed to just accept that my own mother thinks I don't deserve my family's ring because she's decided I don't want children? I'm not saying it's right, Dad said. I'm just saying that's how she sees it. And how do you see it? I asked. Another long pause. I think you should let it go and move on. That's when I realized that my father, The man who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with my math homework and walked me down the aisle at my high school graduation was never going to stand up for me. He was going to take the path of least resistance, just like he always had. "I can't do that," I said. "Then I guess you're choosing not to be part of this family," he said. Those words hit me like a physical blow. I was choosing not to be part of the family. Not them. Not the people who'd broken their promise to me, who'd dismissed my feelings, who'd chosen to protect everyone else's comfort over my hurt. Me. I was the one choosing to leave. "I guess I am," I said, and hung up. That was 3 months ago. 3 months of silence from my family. 3 months of wondering if I've done the right thing. 3 months of grieving the loss of people I thought would always be there for me. The hardest part hasn't been the anger or the hurt, though those have been overwhelming at times. The hardest part has been the doubt. The voice in my head that whispers, maybe they're right, maybe I am being dramatic, maybe I should just let it go and move on. There have been nights when I've stared at my phone, wanting to call and apologize, wanting to pretend that Christmas never happened. But then I remember the look on my mother's face when she handed that ring to Jake. The casual dismissal, the complete lack of empathy for my feelings. The way she said I'd get over it someday, like my 20 years of waiting meant nothing. I think about all the times I put my family first, all the times I rearranged my schedule to help them, all the times I swallowed my own wants and needs to make everyone else comfortable, all the times I was the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who could be counted on to sacrifice for the good of the family. And I realize that it was all one-sided. I was giving and giving and giving, and they were taking and taking and taking. And when I finally asked for something, not asked, really, but expected something that had been promised to me, they acted like I was being unreasonable. David has been incredible through all of this. He's never once suggested that I should just let it go. Never once made me feel like I was overreacting. He's been angry for me. He's held me when I've cried. And he's supported my decision to step back from my family. "You deserve better than this," he told me one night when I was particularly struggling with guilt. "You deserve to be treated with respect and love, not to be manipulated and dismissed." He's right. I do deserve better. But that doesn't make it easier to accept that my own family isn't capable of giving me what I deserve. I've been thinking a lot about family lately. About what it really means, about what we owe each other, about the difference between love and obligation. I used to think that family was everything, that blood ties trumped everything else. But I'm starting to realize that family is about more than shared DNA. It's about respect, about support, about showing up for each other when it matters. My biological family failed me when it mattered most. They chose comfort over justice, peace over fairness, tradition over truth. They chose to protect everyone else's feelings while trampling all over mine. But I'm building a new family now. A family of choice, not obligation. David, who loves me exactly as I am and never asks me to be smaller or quieter or less ambitious. My best friend Lisa, who was so outraged by the ring situation that she offered to drive to my parents' house and give them a piece of her mind. My coworkers who've become like siblings, who celebrate my successes and support me through my struggles. These people see me for who I am, not who they want me to be. They value my independence, my ambition, my strength. They don't try to diminish me or make me feel guilty for wanting things for myself. I'm not going to lie and say this has been easy. There have been days when the grief has been overwhelming, when I've felt like I'm mourning the death of my family, because in a way, I am. The family I thought I had, the family I believed in, doesn't exist. It was all built on the assumption that I would always be the one to give, to sacrifice, to put everyone else first. But here's what I've learned. You can't build healthy relationships on unequal ground. You can't love people who don't respect you. You can't be part of a family that only values you when you're useful to them. I've also learned that standing up for yourself doesn't make you selfish or dramatic or unreasonable. It makes you human. It makes you worthy of respect. It makes you someone who knows their own value and isn't willing to accept less than they deserve. The ring isn't really about the ring, you know? It's about what it represents. It's about being valued, being respected, being treated as an equal member of the family. It's about promises being kept and feelings being acknowledged. It's about love being shown through actions, not just words. My mother always said family was everything, but she never said what to do when family treats you like nothing. I'm learning to build a life where I matter, where my feelings are valid, where my needs are considered, where I'm not always the one expected to give up what I want for the good of everyone else. It's scary sometimes, this new life without the family I thought I could always count on. But it's also liberating. I'm planning my wedding now, and I'm going to wear a ring that David and I chose together. A ring that represents our love, our commitment, our future. Not a ring that comes with conditions and judgments and the expectation that I should be grateful for whatever crumbs I'm given. I know some of you might be thinking that I should forgive and forget, that I should be the bigger person and reach out to my family, that life is short and family is important and I should let go of my anger. And maybe you're right. Maybe someday I will forgive them. But forgiveness doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behavior. It doesn't mean pretending that what happened was okay. They showed me who they are. They showed me that their love comes with conditions, that their respect has to be earned over and over again, that my value in their eyes is contingent on my usefulness to them. And I believe them. If you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, if you're the one who always gives and never receives, if you're the one who's expected to sacrifice for the good of everyone else, I want you to know that you deserve better. You deserve to be loved unconditionally, to be treated with respect, to have your feelings acknowledged and validated. Don't let anyone tell you that you're being dramatic for standing up for yourself. Don't let anyone convince you that you should be grateful for less than you deserve. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for wanting to be treated as an equal. Family isn't about obligation. It's about love, respect, and mutual support. And if the people who share your DNA can't give you those things, then maybe it's time to find your family elsewhere. I'm still figuring out what comes next. I don't know if my family will ever apologize, if they'll ever acknowledge how badly they handled this situation. I don't know if I'll ever get the ring that was promised to me. But I do know that I'm not going to spend the rest of my life waiting for people who don't value me to suddenly start treating me with respect. I'm building something new, something better, something where I matter, where my feelings are valid, where I'm not always the one expected to sacrifice for everyone else's comfort. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I'm excited about the future. Not because it's going to be easy, but because it's going to be mine. Built on my terms, with people who choose to love me exactly as I am. That ring may be gone, but I'm still here, still standing, still worthy of love and respect and everything good that life has to offer. And someday, maybe someday soon, I'm going to realize that losing that ring was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it showed me who I really am when I'm not trying to be what everyone else wants me to be. I'm enough, just as I am. And I'm finally starting to believe it.